known already in the abstract. By removing doubt about an assertion, it develops confidence and engenders the courage to act. So, music like that. So what I want to say is, by removing doubt about an assertion.
Well, I had to write my speech down because I don't have as great of a memory as Cam obviously does. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight as we students celebrate a very momentous occasion. For most of us in the MPAcc taxation program, this day marks the completion of our academic journey. All of us except for Chris down there. As we sit here today, I'm sure many of us are very excited to start our careers as tax accountants. But really, why did we choose tax? For me, I chose the tax program and not the audit and assurance program for two reasons. One, I really didn't want to tell people that I voluntarily enrolled myself into a 9-month AA program. But more importantly, I love tax. So we all fell in love with tax at different times in our lives. For instance, Christy down here has wanted to be a tax accountant since she was 8. Now, I'm not sure what cartoons she was watching back then, but when I was 8, all I wanted to be when I grew up was a transformer. But most of us caught our first glimpse of tax accounting in our undergraduate years, and that's when the bug bit us. But however long ago or recently it was, we now all share the same desire to delve into the world of tax. I know Casey's super excited to get started in tax. She can't get enough of it. So what's so great about tax? What do we find interesting about a subject that most people hate with every single fiber of their being? Why do we look forward to April 15th when others dread the day so much that most of them put it off for another 6 months? It's simple, really. We're just backwards people. For example, we love tax so much that we're going to devote our lives to avoiding it at whatever cost. Now, we won't be evading it. That's illegal. Our two favorite numbers are 10 and 40. Our most hated number is 704. We're definitely not fans of the three letters I, R, and S. We like to avoid them too, but definitely we don't want to evade them either. We're not concerned with how prudent an investment is. We really just care about how it's going to create deductible expenses. We don't care what your title is, we just want to know what bracket you're in. We actually don't even speak English anymore. Did you hear about our client's 1231? Yeah, recaptured by 1245. Well, that's what happens when you 179. Yeah, that's going to kill his GI, AGI, and TI. I hope he's got some D4s or D-froms to get rid of some of that OI. OMG, WTF. I have no idea. Backwardsness all over the world. Some of us are traveling miles east. For instance, Shauna's going to Bellevue. We've also got people going to New York, Boston, California, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. And we'll be represented in Vietnam by Min the Master. So what will we do our first year as tax experts? What will we do as qualified wealth planners at this point? Well, by the end of our first week, we should be able to make a mean cup of coffee. And if you kill the Joe, make some mo. After week 2, we should be masters of the copy machine. And after our first full year, we'll be able to shred like there's no tomorrow. Don't be jealous, though. It took a lot of work to get to this point. You see, we suffered through sleepless nights of 26-hour take-home conduit exams. We read numerous case opinions where 9 Supreme Court judges argued endlessly over the definition of the word home. The answer? It depends. See backwards. And try watching a classroom full of number crunchers try to write a 2-page essays without a single misplaced comma, semicolon, modifier, dash, N dash, hyphen, parentheses, etc. I know Steve was impressed with how many grammatical errors we could fit in 2 pieces of paper. We studied hard, we partied a little. Not that much. We had a lot of procedures and communications classes to attend, so there wasn't a whole lot of time. We grinded through this program and never lost sight of this day. Okay, maybe a little burnout set in about 3 weeks ago, but I know that all of us did about a 3.7 in Rice's class, and we put a lot of effort into our last final. I'd say more effort than anything we've done all year, right? So personally, I was only able to do this with the help and support of my wife, Christine, who's sitting in the audience today. Also in the audience today is the rest of my family, who has also had a major impact in my career. And obviously, looking out into the audience, I can see that none of us on this stage and in the first rows would be here without the support of any of you. So on behalf of everybody, I'd like to thank you. To plain words and sentences what we experienced in these last months. There are a million stories, jokes, and events that I wish I could recap, but I've only got about another minute. I was selected to speak tonight by my fellow classmates, and that's a great honor. I feel a responsibility to make them proud. So I wanted my speech to touch each and every one of my fellow classmates so that they can take a little piece of this with them as a reminder that each and every one of us has affected our learning this year. So I wrote a poem. I call it Ode to MPAcc Tax 2007. In September of 2006, we barely knew each other, but as I look out now, I see my sister, I see my brother. We are all related with one simple plan, to devote our lives to sticking it to the man. Before I continue, I must warn you non-tax folks, this poem is filled with inside jokes. Like Alaskan gardens, washing machines, and other great quotes. Like the one about Georgetta's horse, or Janet's boats. From derelicts to lovelies and the powerful brain trust, keeping them all straight can make Amy very nonplussed. We saw the union of Smat, Ungala, Minton, and Casey and JoJo in the manifestation of Deborah into the infamous Debo. Bill's got his Eustace, but his church is the Dutch. And Mary loved her grammar tests a little too much. Deborah loved take-homes we couldn't possibly get done. And Steve couldn't get enough of that cursed E21. There were Vosges and Ditex and our favorite liquid plumber. It's a wonder that any of us made it to this summer. At least Mary taught us all the great things about grammar and punctuation. But don't worry, Mary, I'll let you explain the synonym for a point of exclamation. So what did we learn? What have we to offer? What wisdom have we accumulated in our little tax coffer? We better be sharp, because after this celebration, I'm sure many of you will ask us for some free consultation. Ask us about spin-offs, split-offs, or split-ups of a CCO, and very confidently we'll say, well, you see, what it is, I don't know. Just kidding. I mean, we're like masters of Chapter C. For instance, Ryan can tell you all about the benefits of 338G. Ask us about estates, trusts, LLPs, and LLCs, and we'll tell you how to structure each and every one of these. Because we got strategies, folks, for all women and men. Like how to step up your basis in 2010. Questionable expenses? Give us your best shot. We can tell you how to best utilize 2 pots and a cot. And if you give us an issue that causes ridiculous consternation, well, we may be confused. There's always proration. If you still don't understand, let me sum it up one more time. But listen closely, because I'm running low on run. We're done. We learned tax and we made it to the end. And into a needful business world we are about to descend. So clear the runway and taxi that plane, because we're coming, world, and we got tax on the brain. And don't be talking GAAP. That's for super accounting Steve, you see. We have but one authority, the United States Code, Title 26, the IRC. So hold your heads up high, fellow code heads. We fought the good fight. I'm proud to have known you. Congratulations, and good night.
Sip from the fire hose.